Welcome to 20 more minutes of useful COD Zombies information, where I give you some of my favorite tips that I've learned playing COD Zombies over the last 15 years, so you can apply them in your game so you can get better too. Y'all keep showing that y'all are absolutely loving these videos, because y'all are completely smashing the like goal. Last video, the like goal was 4,500 likes, and y'all beat it. So we're gonna raise the like goal even higher, and we're gonna see if we can hit it. This is a team effort, but if we can hit 5,000 likes on this video, then not only will I make another episode of useful COD Zombies information, but I will also complete every single Easter egg in COD Zombies history in one video. I did this before like 4 years ago, and I've been wanting to do it again, and a lot of you guys have asked me to do it again. So I'm proposing it right here. We hit 5K likes, and I'll beat every Easter egg ever again. But with that being said, I don't want to let this intro go on too long, so sit back, kick your feet up and relax. Enjoy that Mountain Dew you're sipping on, Kenny. And let's get into the useful information. On Buried, it's possible to duplicate your points so you can fill up your bank really easily. To do this, you want to draw the gavel knuckles and buy them, and get the time bomb from the box. Once you have both of these, you want to go to the bank, and at this point, you want to throw down your time bomb, and then go behind the bank and melee this tag. Doing so will allow you to put all your points into here in the form of a point drop. So empty all your points in here, and once you have, you want to activate your time bomb to go back in time, and if you did it right, then you should have the exact same amount of points that you had when you threw the time bomb down, and additionally, the point drop will still be here, so you can pick it up to double your points. You can do this as many times as you want to fill up your bank extremely fast. The only downside of this trick is you will need a max ammo every time you duplicate your points, but with that being said, if you use 1,000 points to create a point drop, then you can give some candy to Leroy, and he will change his point drop into a random power-up, which could be a max ammo. As I've already stated in this series, the Civil Protector can insta-kill the Margwas if he lands on top of him, but sometimes you want to use the Civil Protector for fun, and he'll be in the map when a Margwas spawns in, so what do you do then? Well, lucky for you, I have another really good trick to take out a Margwas. If you have the Keeper Sword, the upgraded one, then you can unleash your sword and go into beast mode to one-shot the Margwas heads. For some reason, the sword will follow you in beast mode and go after whatever you attack, including a Margwas head. So you can use this trick to kill a Margwas in just one beast mode and 3 melees. If you hold up the claymore and flop with PhD flopper, then the explosion from PhD flopper will glitch out and do double the damage that it normally would have. So for example, in this game, I'm on round 18, and when I flop with just my red gun out, it'll kill some zombies, but a decent amount of them will be crawlers after the explosion. Compared to this clip on the same round where I flop with the claymores out, and it easily kills the whole horde. I have no clue why this works, but regardless, it does. In BO1 Moon, you can duplicate the hacker in the same way you can with the BO3 staffs. But in case you don't remember how to do that glitch, have 2 players go right in front of the hacker and count down 3, 2, 1, grab. And then once you say grab, have both players interact with the hacker at the same time to hopefully get 2 of them. Unfortunately though, it does not work on BO3. And shout out to JSB441 for the useful information. If you guys have a piece of useful information I should cover in this series that I haven't covered yet, comment it down below, and if it's good enough, I'll include it and give you credit. On Ancient Evil, it's possible to get a really easy round 100. To do this, you want to get to the boss fight, and then every single time you knock down Pegasus, or Perseus for that matter, the round will advance. I found the most effective way to do this was to damage Pegasus just a little bit so the third island goes away, and then from here you can knock Pegasus like every 30 seconds. It's insane. I was able to do this entire Easter egg and get to round 100 this way in under 2 hours, just so you understand just how easy this is. Oh, and in case you're wondering why this number's in the top of the screen, that's because I took this clip from one of my other videos, my favorite 40 BO4 zombies tips. So if you want to learn more about BO4, go watch it. Links on the screen now. On Outbreak and Cold War Zombies, if you get either the retrieve challenge or the transport challenge, then you can spam crouch when the bar is like 90 to 95% full to actually duplicate the canister. That way you don't have to go all the way back to the other canister and walk it all the way back to the drop-off point. Instead, you can just do this. On 9, there's a really good one window strat that a lot of people, myself included, use for getting dark matter. Near where the KM57 wall buy is, if you don't buy this door right here and you hang out in this room, then all the zombies will pour out of this window. Now I say all the zombies will pour out of this window, but with that being said, occasionally you will get a gladiator to spawn behind you, but that's not very common because with this strat, gladiators, for the most part, will not spawn. On Tag der Toten, there is also a one window strat you can do, and this one is even easier. This one is located where the OG power switch is on Call of the Dead. When you're inside of this room, literally every single zombie will pour out of this window. And aside from the occasional dog, you can literally turn your brain off to get the easiest round 100 ever. On the Frozen Dawn, it's possible to kill the God King boss before he can even damage you. To do this, you'll need a very specific mod loadout. You'll need to run frontline with vicious, hand-to-hand, and determination. This mod loadout will make the Scythe really good against the God King. And as soon as the boss fight starts, walk up to the God King and spam your melee, and you should be able to take him out in around 15 to 20 seconds. On Transit, well, I guess this could go for all the Victus maps, but we're just gonna say Transit. You'll run faster while you're holding out the turbine. And it's not just a little bit of a boost either. You get a very noticeable speed increase when you hold out the turbine. And additionally, while you're running through the foggy parts of the map and denizens are spawning on top of you constantly, then you can melee twice really fast to kill the denizen before he can even get onto your face. And when you melee with the turbine, you melee a lot faster than you do with any other weapon. So not only is this the most effective way to traverse Transit by holding out the turbine, but it's also the most effective way, besides the Galvanknuckles or Bowie knife, to take out the denizens as well. Here's a pretty big misconception on Origins that I'm really sick of people doing. A lot of people think that you have to wait until you have the staff parts to unlock the crystal for the staff, but that's not true. As long as you have the gramophone and that staff's disc, then you can very quickly hop in and out of that staff's tunnel to spawn in that crystal for the rest of the game. And speaking of the staffs, it's actually possible to get 2 staffs on round 1. Now this should be fairly obvious, but this is only possible on BO3 Origins, but regardless, first you want to turn on Gen 1, get an extra 100 points from the Templar zombies, prone in front of Quick Revive for an extra 100 points, and then kill like 4 or 5 zombies on round 1. Doing so will give you enough points for the tank. Now you want to hit the Gobblegum for shopping free, and if you don't get it, then you will have to reset until you do. And once you have that, open your way up to No Man's Land, and then you want to buy the door to the Mound, Gen 5, and the entrance to the church as well. And now at this point, you want to ride the tank to get the lightning parts. And while you're getting the lightning staff parts, run behind the tank so the zombies aren't super sprinting to catch up to you. Once you have all the lightning staff parts, you want to go through the lightning tunnel, grab the crystal, and then go down to the bottom of the excavation site to build the lightning staff. Now that's the first staff we have. Now let's get the second one. The second staff we can build on round 1 is the wind staff. Now this one is all RNG dependent, but it definitely is possible. You just want to wait until all 3 robots come through so you can go in them to get all 3 parts, and once you have them, go get the wind crystal and go down to the excavation site to build the wind staff. I already went over this series how to get an infinite Ragnarok DG4 on BO3, but it's also possible to get an infinite Ragnarok DG5 on BO4. Make sense? This works on every Ether map, but I'm going to show you how to do it on Classified because I don't know if you know this, but Classified has an Easter egg that is literally locked behind achieving round 150. So I'm going to show you how to bypass that. To do this, you need the Ragnaroks, obviously, and you have to have Mule Kick in your tonic or your modifier slot. This will not work if you do not have Mule Kick in your modifier. For your other perks, it doesn't really matter what you run, but I also recommend you run Winter's Wail to make this easier. And finally, for your elixirs, you want to run stuff like Refreshment and Power Keg if you have them. And also, if you have the talisman that lets you start with a level 2 or level 3 specialist, make sure you put that on as well, because the earlier you get the Ragnarok's level 3, the earlier you'll be able to do this. Once you load into the map, you want to turn on a power and you want to buy your Mule Kick first. It has to be the first perk that you buy in your game. After you get Mule Kick, buy the rest of your perks so the modifier is active, and then go to the mystery box. Now this next part will require some timing, but what you want to do is you want to spin the mystery box, and when you can pick up a weapon, you want to activate your specialist and pick up the weapon at the same time. If you're on controller, then you'll want to do both of these at the exact same time, but if you're on keyboard or mouse, then you'll want to click your specialist button around a half a second before you interact. If you do it right, then the game should quickly pull out your Ragnaroks and then put them away, and when you cycle your weapons, there should be no gun on the screen that has the Mule Kick symbol in the bottom right. If you see the Mule Kick symbol, then you did this wrong and you'll have to do it again. But if the symbol isn't there, then you did step 1. For this next step, you'll need to get the trap. So right now I'm showing you all 3 locations for just one of the traps. And then also, before you do this next part, you will need to get your Ragnaroks level 3 as well. Once you have the trap box, go to the top floor and place it in this trap. At this point, you want to get down to the last zombie in the round. And I will say, you want to be very quick on this next step, because if you mess up this part, then you'll have to restart this entire glitch over again. As soon as you freeze the zombie, you want to run to the other side of the trap and then place down your Ragnaroks and very quickly activate the electric trap trap and down yourself in it. I said to place the Ragnaroks away from the trap because if you don't know, the Ragnaroks can revive you, and we don't want that. That'll mess up the glitch. But once you get back up, the way you know you did this right is if the Ragnaroks are still on the ground, but they are no longer on your HUD. If both of these things are in your game, then you did this step right, so now you can move on to the next step. Now at this point, for the rest of the glitch, you do not want to go down again. If you do, then it will mess up this glitch, and you will have to restart it in another game. So at this point, go ahead and buy your mule kick back and whatever other perk you lost, and then the Ragnarok should come back on the HUD. If they did, then you hit this glitch, and there is just one more thing left to do, and that is to get in a glitch spot. The one I find the easiest to get into is the one right here in front of the morgue. You want to pull out your Ragnaroks and jump and slam and spam crouch, and if you did it right, then you should be on this elevated barrier, and the zombies should not be able to hit you. Also, I should mention, if you're on keyboard or mouse and you can't get this to work, then go check your keybind setting and make sure that your crouch button is actually set to crouch and not change stance. This will not work if your keybind is set to change stance. You can change it back after, just change it for this glitch. But once you're in the elevated glitch spot, the actual last thing to do is to get a full power drop, because the zombies will not be charging your specialist. The only way to get it back is with a full power drop. You want to get a full power and then very quickly pull out your Ragnaroks, put them away, and then pull back out the Ragnaroks again. And if you did this step right, then they are now infinite DG5s that will kill every single zombie below you to carry you to round 150. When the Civil Protector revives you on solo, then you will actually keep your quick revive. So if the Civil Protector's on the map when you're down, then he can actually save you an extra purchase of quick revive so the machine stays in the map for longer. On Origins, it's possible to get an elemental knife that'll one-shot until the 60s. To do this, it's kind of annoying, but the end result is definitely worth it. First off, you can only do this in a co-op game, so that's unfortunate, but once you're in a co-op game, you want to get to the final step of the Easter egg. You want to go through the entire Easter egg until you get your upgraded fist from the bottom of the excavation site. Once you have it, get your favorite staff and go in a robot and down yourself. Once you bleed out, have your friend end the round, and when you respawn, you will now have the elemental knife. Now this works on BO3 as well as BO2, but with that being said, it's a lot cooler on BO2 because on BO3, not only is the knifing a little wonky in the higher rounds and it won't always be a one-shot kill, but also you won't have a really cool staff effect on your screen when you melee the zombies. But with that being said, this does work on both versions. On the random code step on Attack's Easter egg, a lot of people think that it's just that, random. But actually, it's not. If you go inside of Elvira's room, then you'll see a bunch of film reels on a shelf here. If you look very closely at these specific reels, then these 5 reels will actually tell you your code. So the reel on the far left is your first number, then the second reel next to it is your second number, and then if you look on the ground here, there will be a reel on the ground. This reel has your third number on it, and then go back up to the shelf, and this reel has your fourth number, and finally, the reel on the far right has your 5th and final number. Now, as dumb and as out of the way as this is, at least now, y'all have a way to get this code right without having to brute force it. And I have a lot more really good tips for this map too, just like that, including tips to figure out your color really fast, and a surefire way to do the chemical step really easy every single time. So if you guys would like to see me make an updated 2025 Attack of the Radioactive thing Easter egg, let me know down below in the comments, and I will actually do it if enough people ask. Maybe one of you guys can comment, Joltz Attack Easter egg guide like button, and a bunch of people upvote. I don't know. Y'all do what you want. On die rides, it's actually possible to launch yourself across the map with the Ray Gun Mark II. Now, I would not recommend you do this in a real game because this is pretty hard to hit unless you know what you're doing and you know exactly where to aim, which is right here, by the way. But technically it is possible and it is useful to do, whether you need to get across the map and you don't have a trample steam or you're just about to die. This is definitely worth knowing about just in case. On every single Zombies Chronicles map on BO3, it's possible to spawn in a free max ammo whenever you want. I'm going to show you how to do all 8 of these, starting with Tag der Toten. So to start this, there are 4 buttons around the map that you have to interact with. It doesn't have to be in any order, just hit these 4 buttons and you should hear an audio cue. The first one is next to Mule Kick. The second is at the top of the spiral stairs here, you'll have to jump and interact to hit it. The third is near the cabinet on the top floor. And the final one is under the shelf near the box. Once you hit all 4, you'll hear an audio cue. And near the RK5 wall by will be a Samantha figurine. Interact with it and now you have to shoot 5 Samantha dolls around the map within about 2 minutes to get the max ammo. Her spawn locations are random, but right now I'm showing you all the locations she can spawn in. The first one is out this window next to Mule Kick. The second is on the tip of this tank. The third one is in this puddle outside the map. The fourth one is up the spiral stairs through this window on the ground. The fifth one is definitely the hardest one to see. You can see it through this crack on the top floor. The sixth one is right here on top of this truck. The seventh one is next to the Wonder Fizz above the map. And the eighth and final location is on top of this pole near the cabinet. Once you shoot all 5, return to the RK5 while by, and the Samantha doll will be ready for you. Now at this point, whenever you want to, interact with the Samantha doll to spawn into max ammo. You can literally leave it sit here for as long as you want, and it'll stay here for the rest of the game. Now moving on to Rook, for step 1, there are 3 toilets you have to flush near the STG. From right to left, you want to flush the first toilet 9 times. The middle toilet 3 times, and then the left toilet 5 times. Once you do, come near Wonder Fizz right here and interact with the Samantha doll to start the final step. Now just like Tag der Toten, you have to shoot 5 Samantha dolls around the map, and also just like Noct, these are random and they can spawn at any location at any time. The first location's in this far right toilet, the next one is in the power room down the stairs right here outside of this zombie spawn, the next one is in the corner of this kitchen in this pot, the next one is past speed crawler outside of this window right here, the next location is in the room next to this one, and you can find the doll in this hole in the ceiling. The next location is on top of the fountain in the middle of the map. The next location it can spawn is outside of this zombie spawn, but if this zombie spawn isn't torn down, then you can actually see it through this very tiny hole right here. The next location is inside this cooler. The second and last location is on top of the dentist chair near Jug, and finally, the last location it could spawn is on top of this mannequin near the KRM wallby. Once you've shot all 5 dolls, return to the Wonder Fizz machine, and whenever you want to, interact with this doll to get your max ammo. Moving on to Shinonuma, this one's actually a little different, and it's actually really easy, probably the easiest one out of all of these. So first, come to the fishing hut, and inside of this room there are 4 pans you want to shoot in this exact order. You want to shoot these 4 pans in the exact order I am right now, and once you do, you should hear the aforementioned audio cue. Now inside this room in the fishing hut, there will be a Samantha doll on the ground here. Interact with it, and now outside of the fishing hut, there will be a Samantha doll on one of these fence posts. You want to shoot the Samantha doll and it'll teleport to another fence post. You want to do this 5 times, and then once you do, you can return to the fishing hut and interact with the doll to get the max ammo. Moving on to Kino, we're finally getting some different stuff here. You want to come up to this blue door in the alley, and you want to interact and knife it until you hear it knock. It'll knock 1 through 9 times, and then pause for a second or 2, and then knock a second number of times and then pause, and then it'll knock a third set of times. This is actually a code that you'll have to repeat to him, so make sure you keep note of how many times he knocks. And then once he stops knocking, you want to repeat the code to him. You want to knife the blue door however many times he knocked for the first number, and then pause for a second or 2, and then knife again for the second number, pause for a second or 2, and then knife again for the third number. If you did it wrong, then he will knock really aggressively 6 or 7 times, and you'll have to do this again on the next round. But if you did it right, then he'll repeat another code to you, and you'll have to do this again. On the screen right now is a list of the most common codes you could get. You have to do this 3 times with him to do this step, and once you do, again, you'll hear the aforementioned sound cue. And now in this stage in Kino, come right here and interact with this Samantha doll to start the final step. Now at this point, there are 5 Samantha dolls around the map that you'll have to shoot to complete this step. The first one's on the chair right here, the second is on the tip of the chandelier, the third is on the right side of the seats near Jug, the fourth one is actually right next to Jug outside of the map here, the fifth one is on the ledge of the pack-a-punch room, the next location is near the teleporter right here, the next location is right here where an egg would spawn on Revelations, the next location is behind the stage right here on the top of this prop. The next location is in the left corner of the stage, and you can shoot it right here, and the final location is through spawning near the Pharaoh wallby or the PM63 wallby, and it's right here on top of this sconce. Once you shoot 5 Samantha dolls, return to the doll you interacted with to get the max ammo. Now, moving on to Ascensions, this one is probably the coolest one out of any of these. First, you need to get the Gersh device, and then around the map, there are 3 Samantha dolls that you'll have to suck up with the Gershes. The first one is actually inside the Pack-a-Punch room, so you'll have to unlock PAP to do this, but once you do, it's under the map on the left side of the Pack-a-Punch room. If you aim exactly where I do, then you should be able to hit it so the Gersh device doesn't hit a death barrier, and it actually does suck up the Samantha doll. So once you hit this one, there are 2 more to hit, and the second one is outside of Widow's Wine. You can find it right here where I'm aiming on the corner of this building. You want to throw a a ghost device up here exactly how I am, and you should be able to suck it up. I will say that this one was definitely the most tricky for me to hit, but maybe y'all will have a different experience. Regardless though, the third and final doll you have to suck up with the Gershes is near Stamina Up, and it's right here on top of this building. Once you suck up all three, return near Pack-a-Punch, and inside this really red part of the map, there will be a Samantha doll. Interact with it to start the final step, and thankfully, the Samantha doll locations that you have to shoot are not random in this quest. Take the exact path I do, and you'll come across all of them. The first one is right here on top of this rubble. The second one is near where the Wonder Fist spawns. The third one is next to Stamina Up, and it's hanging upside down at the bottom of this beam. And then the fourth and fifth one are near the landing pad near Stamina Up. The fourth one will spawn on the ground right here, and then the fifth one will spawn on top of it. Once you shoot all five, return to the really red part of the map near Pack-a-Punch and interact with it to complete the Easter egg. For the Shangri-La one, this one isn't hard, but with that being said, you have to keep the 1911 to do the second step. After it, you can get rid of it, but make sure you hold on to the 1911 until you do the second step. To do the first step, you need to find the 4 authentic gongs around the map for the Easter egg. If you don't know how to do that, right now I'm going to show you all 8 locations really fast. First one's in spawn right here, then going the left way out of spawn, the second one is right here. The third and fourth one are actually down this way, near the random perk that spawns here. Here's the third one, and then the fourth one is right here next to it. And then you want to go back through spawn and go the right way out of spawn, and the fifth one will be right here in front of the mud room. And then you want to go through the mud room, and the sixth and seventh ones are right next to the random perk. And then finally, go across the bridge to find the 8th and final gong. You want to melee these gongs and listen for a sound. This is what a real gong sounds like, and this is what a fake gong sounds like. You want to figure out which 4 gongs made the real gong sound, and you want to melee all 4 of those ones without meleeing a fake one. And once you do, taking the left way out of spawn, you want to go underground, and inside of this room, you want to shoot these pots on the wall with your 1911. It has to be with your 1911. No other gun will work. You want to shoot the far left pot 2 times, and then the far right pot 1 time. And if you did this right, then you should hear the Chronicles cue. Now at this point, going the left way out of spawn, there will be a Samantha doll right here near the minecart. Interact with it, and now you have to shoot 5 Samantha dolls around the map. The first one you can hit right here looking through the minecart. You can actually shoot it right here. For the second and third one, you want to go in the power room, and the second one will spawn under this lantern. And then on the far right of this room, the third one will spawn right here in this dark area. Then the fourth one will spawn right here for the exit of the minecart, and the fifth and final one will spawn on top of the Don't Hold X rock. Once you shoot all 5, return to the doll and interact with it to get your max ammo. Moving on to Moon, this one is definitely the easiest one to do. Near the power switch, there are 4 computers. For the sake of simplicity, I'm going to label them number 1, number 2, number 3, and then number 4. Make sure you remember which computer is which, because to do this Easter egg, you have to interact with these terminals in the order of 2, 4, 4, 1, 1, 4, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 4, 4, 3, 2. Yeah, I might have been joking when I said this was the easiest one. Once you do though, you'll hear the Chronicle sound, and near the MPD will be the Samantha doll. Interact with it, and in front of where you place the throw device will be a bunch of Samantha dolls. You want to shoot them in order from left to right, and once you do, return to the doll to get your max ammo. And finally, for the one on Origins, first you need to build all 4 staffs, and then once you have all 4 staffs built, you want to get a zombie blood, and at the bottom of the excavation site, around the machine that you have to rotate to shoot your ball, there will be 4 orbs on the outside of it. You want to shoot all 4 of these orbs with the corresponding staff colors. So obviously you want to shoot the blue one with the ice staff, the purple one with the lightning staff, the red one with the fire staff, and the yellow one with the wind staff. Once you shoot all 4, you want to go to the crazy place, and on the center crystal facing the fire tunnel will be a Samantha doll. Interact with it, and a bunch of Samantha dolls will spawn on this platform, and once you shoot all of them, a Samantha doll will race to the sky, and then you will get your max ammo. And there was your useful COD Zombies information. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you drop a like I said in the intro, 5k likes, and I will not only make another episode of useful information, but I will also make a video completing every single Easter egg in COD Zombies history again. What was your favorite tip in this video? Comment it down below. Shout out to my members. Thank you all so much for supporting me. I love each and every one of you. And quick shout out to my 3 new members, Tricky Boy, Soul, and the Ohio Rizzler. Thank you all for becoming members. If you want to become a member and get access to members only videos, guaranteed to be in hot take videos, and more, click the join button down below. Thank you all for watching, and with that being said, I will see you all in the next one. Peace out.